All right. So guys, this is you know, this is really supposed to be a reaction to the first video. Apparently, I think when I was thinking back, I should have done this video before the first one. You know, but yeah, that's how it go. We just you live, you learn. All right. So I'm gonna call this designing with purpose crash course. All right. So well, this crash course we're just going through the fundamentals. You know, basic, basic of the basic in Illustrator. Um, Mainly the ones that we will be using throughout the rest of this workshop. So the first thing we could step into is that, we could talk about the tools. We have the selection tool. That's to select whatever is on your canvas or your artboard. This is your artboard, by the way. It could be basic shapes, basically any shape, right? Um, example would be, you know, let's say we don't have this selected. You just select it with the select tool and it selects everything. The shortcut for the selection tool, if you hover it over selection tool, it'll be V. A. Alright, now let's go into the next tool. The next tool is the direct selection tool. This is just as functional as the selection tool, but the difference is that it selects, you're very used to select certain parts of your image or your drawing or your illustration, mainly anchor points. So for example, I make a selection over this. You see these 4 points in the corner? These are called anchor points. You mainly see them in shapes and when you're using the pen tool. So when you're selecting specific anchor points, you're just only selecting the same anchor points. So if you want to, you know, let's say you want to move this anchor point, we just move it, right guys? So that is what this direct selection tool is for, right? So the next one that we'll be using is, you know, the text tool. The text tool. The text tool. I don't know why my thing's loading. Alright, let's just wait for it to load. Alright. The text tool. So when you're using text tool, because we're not really going into the different variations of the text tool, because these are different variations. We're not going into them, but we just click on the text tool to get the text tool. When you're in the text tool, you should place it on your artboard. This is how to use the text tool. Place on your artboard, and you just select the artboard, and your type comes up. This lower ipsum is just dummy text. So what you want to do is, what I would do is, the moment your dummy text loads up, you go into your direct selection tool and you scale it up so you could see what the type is, and then you go back into your text tool and then you select.
I'm not going to ask that.
Yeah, question?
No, so I was not going to ask that about why is always that every time you press the text.
Yeah, wait, why is we always, we'll go. So
The lorem IPSM.
yeah, it's just dummy text. They use it to, fill placeholders, etc. Yeah.
Right.
So we You just type in something really quick.
Oh, damn. I see it coming up now. Okay. I haven't read the mic itself yet. Shit, my bad. Falling in. If you see me looking up, it's because
Alright.
I've got premium YouTube.
Um, guys, his name is guys. Um, this is your text, right? So, um, that's really it for text. You could also select fonts for these texts. That is a whole different thing. We're going to get into that soon. Just now, we just explained the tools right now. So, we have the shape. These shapes you just use to, to drag and you create a shape. Rectangle tool. The shortcut, if you hover over it, you will see this is the well it's M for the rectangle, and you could hold down M, not hold on M, but you could hold down M. No, not hold on M. You could just hold down on the tool, and you will see all its different options, right? All right, so we're gonna go a little bit more into the rectangular tool. When you're creating a shape, you just click and drag. That's really it. There are these little points here. I'm not talking the anchor points. I'm talking these little round dots that you see inside the
Yeah.
circle. These are just to round the edges. You'll see me use it time to time. And if you want
Yeah,
to get
that is what I used to wrong now.
yes, and if you want to get creative with it, you could use the direct selection tool and just round off one section of it if you're creating, something weird.
Hold that up.
Yeah. The next thing you could also do is when you're dragging to create a tool, you could press shift and shift will make sure it's proportionate, and alt, if you hold shift and alt, it will make it proportionate. But the difference between just holding shift and alt is that shift and alt will be dragging it from the center. So shift and alt drags it from the center into a proportionate direction,
Mm-hmm.
rather than if it just shift, it just drag one corner, right? That's the only difference between shift and alt. So I recommend most of the time you just hold down shift and alt and drag instead of just shift. Alright. It depends on the usage, but that's really it. And I think I'm gonna go in is the fill. Fill is just to select your color, right? You just select whatever color you want and it will be there. And then to get to your stroke button, your stroke is behind the fill. If you press X on your keyboard, or if you just simply click swap fill and stroke, sorry, not swap fill and stroke. If you just click the stroke, it'll bring up the stroke tool, and to toggle between them, you just press X. If you want to put a color on this, you just press colors. You should have either this color, which is also we use it to select colors, but instead what I choose to is that I press the icon itself. This will load up the color picker and it will be much easier for you to choose the colors. Right, guys? So stroke is just
Preach.
the stroke that you see on the sides. Um, let me just come out on a section. Do you notice the blue highlight? That's just the stroke.
Yeah,
Right.
faintly. Mm-hmm.
Um, I hope everyone is in essential because if you see essential right here, there's essentials right here. So when you enter your workspace, make sure it's in essential. This is just to make your workflow easier. There are also other parts of it, but essentials is the most common way to go. You usually see in your right side, you'll have a set of tools. You'll see stroke. You might not see stroke, so if you don't see stroke in this panel, just press Windows and you'll see stroke. You scroll down till you see stroke and you just select it and it'll be there. Stroke is just you know, you could basically adjust whatever is on the stroke, the blue stroke here. You could increase the size, right? You increase the size of the stroke. I guess make sure when you're increasing the size, you have the selection, you have your object selected, and just increase the stroke. Right? You could round off the edges of the stroke, right?
Stroke has a lot of power. You see.
I guess you could, you could round off the edges. I'm not sure why mine's not rounding off. But I guess that doesn't matter if you could use this rounds off corners. Alright. So another thing that we'll be looking at is the pen tool. The pen tool is, I personally find it relatively easy to learn once you know how to use it, or once you learn how to use it.
And to came in touch.
But other than that, the pen tool is really just you creating anchor points. If this is the pen tool right here, P is the shortcut tool to reach there. So what I do with the pen tool, first things first, whenever your pen tool is in caps lock, you'll see it like this. It won't affect anything, it just would change the way it looks. That's really it. So you could have a caps lock on or a caps lock off if you want when using this pen tool. The pen tool is used to create, shapes, right? Most people, when they're using the pen, they actually just click on where they want to go, right? Where they want to select, and you just do so until you have an enclosed shape. That's when you'll see this O around the pen tool. That's how you know you're enclosing a shape right there and then. And when it's closed, you could do whatever you want with the shape. Right? The next thing, the pen tool works the same way with shift, like in shape. So when you hold on shift, you'll create a straight line, and yeah, you'll create a straight line. That's pretty much it. There's very much more you could go into the pen tool. Like, here's what I'm about to show you guys. So when you're using a
It
pen,
depends. It just looks like if you hold long,
when you're using the pen tool,
as well as
yeah, when you're using the pen tool,
yeah.
repeat what you said, say again. You kind of sick of it.
If you
Not gonna answer. Not gonna.
okay. Nah, because I zoom on as I use it on two accounts. So.
All right. I'll just save everything after. All right. So the pen, just as you could shape, you could you could hold on shift to get your straight line. What if you want a curved line? So in the pen tool, what you're gonna do to create a curved line, you create shift, not shift. You hold down the button when you click. When you click, you don't release it. You hold on to it and you drag it. You will see these what you call anchors.
That's all I was not gonna talk about.
Yeah, these are called anchors. Use them to create curves, right, guys? Use them to create
Mm-hmm.
curves. The longer it is, the more the curve, yeah, or the more curved the angle is, right? Now, a lot of people fall into the trouble of when they make a bad curve, what do they do? So the first thing you do is you want to adjust your angle. When it's in this state, guys, the one below it usually controls the curve that you just created. So in order to use it, you just hold on Alt and you just click on this anchor, the anchor angles right here. I think that's what they call anchor angles. We'll just call them anchor angles, right? All right. So you just Alt and
Let's call them anchor
drag.
angles.
Yeah, I don't know what's the real name. So you just press hold on Alt and you drag to adjust your angle. Alright, guys. Now, if you want the angle above it now, which is the one in front, usually controls where the next angle can be directed to. So you hold on Alt and you could either move this up and down to direct the angle that you'll be projecting next. So notice I'm moving it in closer for a closer angle, and that way it will bring in this angle a little closer to where I desire for it to go. So the shorter the angle, the the better you are at creating these angles, and the longer the angle or the anchor angle, the bigger your curves are going to be.
Got
So
it.
one thing I want to go through is how do you edit this once you enclose the shape? So once you're in the pen tool, you can literally hover over these anchor points, hold down Control, and just select. That will select it. If you want to move it, you hold on Control and you drag it out where you desire it to be. And when you select it, you're usually in the pen tool. So if you want to create your anchor angles, once more, you just hold on Alt. You'll see this curved, these two angle looking curves, not curves, these two angles, right? And you just drag, um, right? Just drag them out to create this angle. And that's really it for the pen tool. There's one more shape that I want to get into, one more tool which is very useful. This is the shape builder tool. So the shape builder tool is what you use to cut out or intersections or bits of
Oh,
your shape.
so
So we use this as an example. Let's say I create two looking shapes, right, guys? Just two shapes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really have much to do with them, right?
hey, let me go.
So I'm making sure these shapes are interlocking, right? So right now I have both of them selected, and you can see which one are selected. You can also see which the intersection of where the circle passes through the square and where the square passes through the circle. So the shape builder tool, this is the tool right here. It looks like two circles, literally. And
Yeah, I know it is.
yeah, and the shortcut is just Shift M to reach there. So when you hover over it,
That is
you
coming
see
hard.
checkered mark. This will indicate which pieces you could either join or subtract. So when you're subtracting a piece of shape, right, you just hold on Alt. You'll see the mouse, literally underneath the mouse, you'll see a minus sign. Just click it and it decreases a piece of the shape. It's a very interesting tool, honestly, because it could do literally almost most of the stuff you're gonna do. And if you want to join two shapes, you just click on the one that you're going to select and you drag into the one that you want it to join with. So I covered everything for it to select, and there's nothing separating these two now because they're one shape. Right, guys?
Is that it? Wait, is that like a different way to group them, or
This is one way to group them.
okay?
There's another way, but I don't think I want to show you guys that other way.
But he already showed me it.
Oh, wait, which other way did I show you to them?
And I think the one way you show me is when you highlight it. I think it is object you just go in, or I think it's object or view, and it have you'll see group, or
Oh,
you
that
can
is.
use the short, or you can use the shortcut
Oh, all
G,
right.
Control G.
Group. All right. Group is something different. Group is grouping two shapes in a group. So when you select it, you're literally selecting two shapes, but it's not one shape. The shape builder tool, it combines the shape and it joins them, so it becomes one. It becomes one shape. So the
Become
difference between
whole.
it becomes whole. So the difference between the two is that this one is one shape, while the other one is just two shapes, but they're grouped together.
Mhm.
They could, just move them easier. All right. So one thing I wanted to dip further in was the type tool, which is literally T for the shortcut. So
Tap to.
yeah, so for type, because we will also be using this in our session. So once you have your type selected and you type it in, and if you want to, let's say you want to change the font that you're using, or you want to make it bigger without, adjusting size, right, guys? Or you want to adjust the kerning, which is the space between these letters. You could press Control Shift T. Sorry, not Control Shift T. Sorry. Just Control T. Control T will bring up the character open type on paragraph 2. Or if you don't see it, you could also go into your Windows and select type and click characters, and this will just come up back once more. So if you want to change the font that you're using, you just have your type selected in the type tool. Alright,
Alright, I
I get
seen
it.
it now. I seen it now.
yeah, see now.
So
Alright,
it, you know,
so let's
yes,
go
I
back
believe
to
it.
it. You selected type with the type tool, and you can literally browse through the list of fonts that you have. I personally, I just spend time looking for different fonts and downloading them. So this is why I have a very diverse library of fonts. But you guys could work with what you have as well, right? And
What site is this for your phone? So it's just like
I was just about to ask.
the review,
what site you just use for your fonts?
good side. Well, the thing is, it varies from which one. So
Which one?
if I want free fonts, because when I'm looking at fonts, I literally look under license as well, because if I'm
Don't
doing
worry,
it.
but I understand
Yeah,
licenses.
yeah. And another thing is also cheaper to buy the whole family rather than just one font.
But you know what should buy how much from what? Let me not make that joke.
Yeah. So, I use the font.
Oh, I like that one.
The font is, simple. Yeah, this is Futura. I have a list.
Yes.
Actually have a list of, common fonts to use. Just normal fonts that don't go out of style. These are the ones that, they literally they avoid trends by all costs. Yeah, so Futura is one of them. We're not really going to type because that's actually our next section. But I have an exercise for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, send you guys in an email. You should see an Illustrator file that has just this alone in it. So just download it.
Yeah.
Not really open it yet, but before you
Just
download it,
download it.
yeah, just download it and come back to this share screen. Alright, so here's what we're going to do with these shapes, right? So I want you guys to use the pen tool and you're going to trace over these exact shapes. So I think we're after you initially pass the learning curve of using the pen tool, your next struggle would literally be where are you placing your next angle? Because I know people will have this heart and they will just place it and just have it just going around it, right? Or
The body dying it.
or some people will just
That ain't it.
Dying it, chief.
just going and they're clicking away, chipping all the way till they get it, and you'll see all this anchor points. You don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that because editing that is pain.
Maybe was smoothness.
Yeah. So what you want to do, you're gonna click and drag into the direction that you're going. Alright. So you click, and if you want to redo it, you just, Control Z to undo, and you just go again. You click and you drag into the direction you're going. The next point will go into the center, which is halfway. You click and drag again, and you'll see. Now, how are you going? Now, if you notice the heart specifically, is actually a hard stop and then it goes back into a curve again, if you notice. It's not a curve into the heart. So how are we going to do this, right? So what you want to do, you want to break this angle, this angle. And you bring it up and you out, make it look proportionate to the other side of the angle. Basically you're reflecting what the other angle looks like, and you go again. You go to the next point and you click and you drag. And then we just go into that direction. We click and we
And you
drag,
click and you drag.
and that's really it. And if you want to, go the extra mile and fix up these shapes because it's not exactly what it is, you just go back to your ankles and you just edit these a little bit, make little touches. Alright guys, just make little touches. Alright, just make little touches. And we have our heart.
Why will be jumping?
That's really it. This is our heart here. If you want it to be a stroke outline, you could just press Shift and X and you'll see a stroke and you just increase the size. Right? That's it.
Some men will shake the exercise.
Alright guys, just open up, go into the Illustrator file and do that quickly. So
Yeah,
closing off today's recorded session of the crash course, these are the only tools that I want you guys to use when we're going through the rest of the workshop.